Let's be honest. Progress rarely looks picture perfect. Sometimes it looks like jewelry spread across every flat surface you own, half with price tags and half without. Sometimes it's a folder of content drafts you haven't posted yet. And sometimes it's sitting in front of your computer thinking, am I even doing this right? But here's what I'm learning. Confidence doesn't come from having everything organized and polished. It comes from showing up anyway and trusting that even the messy middle counts as progress. Hey friend, and welcome back to Sparkle and Shine. I'm Cassandra, your creative biz bestie and the heart behind Pretty Pineapple Bead, where I make colorful, confidence-boosting jewelry for women who want to feel vibrant, bold, and totally themselves. Here on the show, we talk all things small business, mindset, marketing, growth, and everything in between, with a whole lot of encouragement and real talk along the way. In the last few weeks, we've talked about pricing with confidence, redefining success, and what it really feels like when things get quiet. Today, I want to peel back another layer and talk about the messy side of momentum, the imperfect, unfinished, sometimes chaotic parts of building 3 different brands at once, and why I'm learning to trust myself through it all. So let's start with Pretty Pineapple Bead. If you were to walk into my workspace right now, you'd see what I lovingly call organized chaos. Every surface has something on it. Bins of bracelets, rows of earrings, and more little plastic baggies than I'd like to admit. All my online prices are fully updated after my big pricing overhaul, but the physical tags, not so much. Only the pieces that were in my booth back in mid-October have new barcodes. Everything else, and we're talking more than 1,000 individual pieces, still have 2 handwritten tags, one for the SKU and one for the old price. It's slow, tedious work. Rip off the old tag, print a new label, scan to confirm the barcode, attach it, and repeat again and again. It's the kind of task that doesn't feel productive in the moment, but every little pile of re-tagged jewelry reminds me that progress isn't always a clean slate. Sometimes it's a table covered in half-finished progress. And that messy middle, it showed up again last weekend at a DIY Bead Bar party. This group had booked 8 projects, all pens and keychains. And all day leading up to the event, I kept second-guessing myself. Should I bring my entire bead bar? Or just the supplies for what they chose? Bringing everything would have meant lugging bags of beads in every size, shape, and color. Wire, pliers, bowls for the beads. Basically, an entire mobile studio. But something told me, trust yourself. Just keep it simple. So I packed light. Only the chosen projects. But I tossed my card reader in my bag just in case. And good thing I did. Within 30 minutes, the group finished every project. They were fast, creative, and having the best time. The host looked at me and said, "They're having so much fun. Could we make more?" I smiled and said, "Absolutely." By the end of the night, they had made 12 extra pieces on top of the original 8. The host offered to pay afterward, and because I had my card reader, I could handle it right there. No invoicing, no delays. I even gave her a little VIP treatment. Like, I only charged for 10 extra projects instead of 12. That decision to trust my gut to prepare just enough to stay flexible earned me an extra $80 that night and a possible repeat booking for the future. Confidence doesn't come from being perfectly prepared. It comes from trusting yourself to adapt when things don't go exactly as planned. That night was proof that when you give yourself permission to pivot, it often pays off. Now, moving on to Sparkle and Shine. Let's talk about something that felt both exciting and a little bit scary. launching my Substack. I've been creating online content for years. Instagram, Facebook, emails. But Substack, it feels different. It's quieter. It's slower. It feels like a space for deeper storytelling instead of chasing algorithms. So far, I have 1 follower and 0 subscribers. And yet, I'm proud because this time, I didn't just post for free. I made 2 downloadable printables for my paid tier, the first ones I've ever created. And I made the bold decision to put them behind a paywall. It might seem small, but it was a big moment for me. For the first time, I said, my work has value. My creativity deserves compensation. That's a huge mindset shift for anyone building something from scratch. We get so used to proving ourselves by giving things away that we forget confidence often looks like drawing a boundary, saying, this has worth. Creating those printables reminded me that my work is worth it. And even though I don't have paid subscribers yet, every post I write, every printable I design, and every message I share is part of a much bigger plan. Sparkle and Shine is where I'm laying the groundwork for something long-term. Community, courses, coaching, and connection. It's a slow build, but I'm trusting that the people who are meant to find it will. And then there's Keep Fresh Studio. Joe and I are bursting with ideas. So many that it's almost paralyzing. We'll sit down to brainstorm, and 5 minutes later, we're 20 tangents deep. What if we did a coffee-themed collection? No, wait, what about music nostalgia? How about seasonal quotes? Before we know it, an hour has passed and we haven't actually designed a thing. So I decided we needed structure, something to catch all those ideas and make them usable. And that's where my idea bank was born. What's the idea bank? It's a huge project. I laid out 10 main themes with 15 subcategories under each one, and then 25 design ideas per subcategory. When it's all finished, there will be 3,750 ideas. It's not glamorous work. It's spreadsheets, notes, and hours of typing. But it's creating clarity, a roadmap we can return to every time we sit down to create. This project has taught me that structure, it's not the enemy of creativity. It's a container that lets it thrive. When you have a system to fall back on, you free up brain space for the fun part. The designing, experimenting, playing around with color. So while it's all still in progress, I already feel more confident knowing that I'm building a foundation that Joe and I can both rely on. So let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Across all 3 brands, one truth keeps showing up. Progress rarely looks perfect. At Pretty Pineapple Bead, I'm surrounded by half-tagged jewelry and beads everywhere. At Sparkle and Shine, I'm celebrating 1 follower like it's 1,000. And at Keep Fresh Studio, I'm deep in spreadsheets, building systems that no one will ever see. But this is what growth actually looks like. Last week, every brand got at least 1 post out on social media. My emails and Substack posts went live. The podcast dropped on time. And even though I didn't hit every single goal in my content plan, I showed up, and that counts. Because the truth is, every step, even the small or messy ones, they move you closer to where you're headed. So if you've been feeling behind or like you're not doing enough, here's your reminder. Progress isn't always pretty, but it's still progress. It's okay if you're in the middle of it. It's okay if it's not polished. You're learning, adjusting, and building something real. And that matters more than perfection ever will. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is keep going, even when it's not picture perfect. If there's one theme running through everything I've shared today, it's this. Trust yourself through the process. Trust that every tag you replace, every spreadsheet you build, every small adjustment you make, it all matters. You don't need it to look perfect to be proud of it, because confidence isn't a single milestone. It's something you grow into every time you take action, even when things still feel unfinished. And when you zoom out, those messy little steps start to connect. They form the story of how you built your business, one imperfect, intentional action at a time. So before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a few reflection questions to ground yourself this week. Number 1, where in your business do you need to give yourself permission to be imperfect right now? Number 2, what part of your process feels messy, but is actually proof that you're moving forward? And number 3, what's one thing you're proud of today, even if it's still in progress? Here's your challenge for this week. Take one imperfect action. Post the thing you've been overthinking. Launch the offer that isn't perfect just yet. Or simply map out a plan that feels doable instead of ideal. Show up for yourself this week, not because everything's ready, but because you're ready enough. And if you'd like to keep growing together, you can find me on Substack. That's where I'm sharing behind-the-scenes lessons, creative biz reflections, and both free and paid printables for my Sparkle and Shine community. Just search Sparkle and Shine Podcast on Substack or check the link in the show notes. You can always come and say hi to me over on Instagram at Sparkle and Shine Podcast. I love hearing your stories and celebrating your progress, messy and all. Remember, friend, progress doesn't need to be perfect to be powerful. Keep showing up with heart, keep trusting your own rhythm, and keep shining.